Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on Swamp Thing, issue number 1, New 52 comic review. Now, as you know, Swamp Thing is meant to be part of the New 52. The story acts a little bit like a continuation from Blackest Night and Brightest Day, even though it doesn't. And I do have a theory that this was originally the case. So the cover, you have Swamp Thing emerging from the water, while we have birds and other scenery. Mainly the story starts off how in Metropolis, Clark is in the Daily Planet, and him, Lois, and Perry White have a look outside, and birds are dying. In the Batcave, bats are dying around Batman's computer, and in the ocean, the fish are dying, and Aquaman pretty much looks shocked. And so you've got Alec, who was originally Swamp Thing, doing some work and basically living his everyday life. And his boss is like, "Hey Holland, give me a hand, will you?" And so we are introduced to his boss, who thanks him for the medical advice and stuff, and points out what the kind of plants and that were. And he's like, "No, I mean, how do you know that? You're a doctor in the past, like, or something, huh?" And so Alec just kind of advises his boss to go have a rest and go back home. So, meanwhile, in the Arizona, a big sandstorm happens that takes away all the bones and things of a dead mammoth, and pretty much the other decayed wildlife. So we see Alec throwing away all of the dead wood and that, the ones that aren't going to be good, and he's like, "No good." And so you have Superman, who talks with him, saying, "You're a hard man to find, Dr. Holland. Superman, what are you doing here?" And so they mainly have a talk, and he points out that he doesn't want to be Swamp Thing anymore, and that he just wants a normal life, and that he doesn't remember what he had and anything else. And so, pretty much he talks about the other plants and that are dangerous, and basically Superman understands and says, "Dr. Holland, I'm sorry, Superman. I really appreciate you coming down here and all. And you're right, I do feel lost at the moment. But the truth is, right now, I just don't want to be found." And so you got to the archaeologists, who discover something's happened to the bones, and they think that one of their other team members had turned traitor on them. They mainly investigate and hear something upward without finding it a little bit strange or anything. So suddenly you've got this giant decayed-like beast who shows up and goes into one of the guy's ears saying, "I'm a scientist, do you understand? What's happening? My neck! No, please, please!" And so it ends up twisting his neck, and they quickly make a break for it, but it's too late. One of them gets hit in that as well, and they end up becoming the creature's followers. And you've got Alec, who is in his motel sleeping and remember what happened to him. And suddenly goes, "No, I'm not, get off of me!" And so he pretty much presses the safe numbers, which is 1971, as a reference to Swamp Thing, and pretty much gets one of the chemicals and says, "What do you want from me? This is what you want, is it? Happy, you can..." "Dr. Holland, I wouldn't do that if I were you." And yeah, this is meant to be a different guy who took the Swamp Thing avatar. And yeah, this is the story. So, what do I think? It's definitely not a bad first issue. We see Dr. Holland trying to live an everyday life, but deep down Swamp Thing is always going to be needed when the time is right. And I do believe, yeah, this was originally meant to follow after Brightest Night, or Brightest Day, but I think, yeah, if they just made it into a different story and set it up differently, it would have made more sense. So the issue deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.